Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live webinar training that we do every Wednesday. Hopefully, we have some new people tuning in. For the last 2 weeks, a couple of us here from the company were in Italy for one of the biggest tool trade shows in the jewelry industry in northern Italy, in Vicenza. So we talked to a lot of people there, invited you to come watch, so hopefully you're watching. Today we're not doing a jewelry-specific episode. This episode we're going to focus on mold and die repair. But the technique that you use when repairing a mold or a die with adding metal, adding filler material to a mold actually is something that it's a good skill to have no matter what application you're doing. You're always going to need to add metal in one form or another. But today's episode, just so everyone knows, we are focusing on mold and die repair. That's a big industry that we focus on with our pulse arc welders. But if you have another application, you will most likely need to add metal with what you're doing. So stay tuned into this episode and ask questions about adding metal. I'll talk about a couple tricks and tips of things that we like to do, and hopefully other people out there watching can also chat in and share their suggestions and ask questions. So to get started, there's excuse me, got a little bit of a cold last week, but I apologize for coughing. But there's 5 things we're going to cover today, or 5 things that I want you to know in the mold and die repair applications and industries. And then I'll do some welds and we'll show you how we like to do that. So today we're using an Orion 250S. It's one of the new systems with a little bit more power. With mold and die repair, you're usually using a lot more power to melt the metal and fix the mold. So you still have a wide range. You can still lower the power down on this system if you're doing a smaller mold. So there's no problem there. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do with mold and die repair, and with anything really, you want to make sure you know your material. So when you have a mold, sometimes they're aluminum, and then there's many different types of aluminum, and so you need to know which type of aluminum you're working with, because when you add metal to that with filler wire, you need to make sure you're using the same filler wire as what the mold is. Now, in any other application, if you're working with something that's gold or silver, you're going to add gold wire or silver wire. Same concept. So know your material. That's very important. Number 2 is use the correct filler wire. So, like I said, if you're working with a still mold, use still wire to fill in and repair that. Aluminum, and so on. And that goes for working with jewelry, or if you're in the dental industry or eyeglass repair or anything like that, know your material and use the correct fill wire. If you don't know the material in the jewelry industry or the eyeglass repair industry, a lot of times we just use silver because it works really well to bond metals together. So that's a good tip for you. Next, before you go and start welding on your mold, it's very good to preheat the metal. Now this is just specific to mold and die repair. You want to heat that mold up, and what it's going to do 2 things. It's going to increase the strength so that when you add the metal in there, it really bonds to it well and gives it a lot of strength. And it's going to prevent heat cracking. So as you know, from welding and adding heat, the metal will start to crack and it'll break off and whatnot. So preheating with either a torch or basically a torch, that's the best way to preheat your mold. You're going to be able to have good strength, and you're going to prevent heat cracking so that you can reuse that mold over and over again in the future. Now, with the mold, after we do what we're going to do, you'll have to clean up the area and probably machine it. And so when we're adding metal to the area of the mold that has a chunk taken out or a scratch in it or whatever it may be, you're going to add lots of metal in that area, and you're going to actually build up the area and build out. If it's on like a 90 degree, you need to build up and out, because after you add the metal, you're going to have to clean up that, machine that area. So you need to have enough metal on there that when you machine it, you still have your straight angle. So that's the fourth point. And then the last thing is that you are going to have to machine the area. So once you're done adding metal, you machine it, look at it through the microscope, make sure there aren't any cracks or porosities or holes or whatever, make sure you got it everywhere. And once you do that, the mold is back to normal. You can reuse it, and you'll be good to go. With other applications, same thing. You'll add metal to the area, and then you'll buff and polish it out, and clean up the area so that it looks good and presentable for you. So, excuse me. So without further ado, I'm going to do an example. So we're going to switch the camera angle up to the welding electrode here, and I'm going to show you how we add metal. We've talked about it in other episodes, but for those tuning in for the first time, this is what we do. Alright, so if you've met us at trade shows, you know that we like to use screws. Well, it's just because they're easy to use, and we can throw them away when we're done. But this will be good for showing examples. Right now, I'm just going to piece this together, just to hold it together for us. But you'll see right here on the screws, you have a line, and if this were your mold or your die, and you had that either scratch in it or chunk taken out or whatever it is, the concept is going to be the same of what you will do. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab our filler wire, which I'm bringing in right here, and you're going to set the wire. There's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm trying to show the best angle here in the camera, but you'll set that wire right where you want to fill, and then you're going to touch the electrode to the workpiece right in front of the wire. You're going to actually touch the wire and the workpiece at the same time, and it's going to suck that metal in and fill in that line. And you're going to do that all along the way until you fill the whole area that you need to fill. And then after that, you'll continue to add metal, so it builds up on top and on the sides. Because like I said in the 5 key points, once you're done adding the metal, you're going to have to clean that up and machine it. So you want to have enough metal on there that when you machine it, it has the correct angles and everything that you started with. Now, this is a smaller screw, and the wire's probably I don't know, maybe a 28 gauge, I think, is what we have here. Maybe 26 gauge. So on this machine, if we go to our settings here, we're going to switch screens up. Do we have that switched? Okay, cool. So on this screen here, let's get our settings where we want them for what we're going to do. Now, if you've never done this before, on the S series system, so whether it's a 250S or a 150S, you can come to the basic screen. You can choose the metal that you're welding. So if it were stainless steel, like what we're using today because of the screws, you would start here. You go to the add metal joint type right here, and then it gives you a suggested setting, as you can see here. If you're doing research and development and you want to come up with your own custom settings, that's awesome. That's what these machines are all about. So the basic screen is to help, and if you know what you're doing, then you can just come back here to the arc screen, and then what I'm going to do is hit the reset button. Gives me my factory settings. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I can come in and I can set the power where I want. I can add agitation and whatnot. Now, I've done this before on screws, and I know that what I like is usually about 15. I'm going to just not do any agitation today, and then we'll go right here. And like I said, with molds, a lot of times you have a thicker piece of wire, like a 20 gauge or or small, or thicker. And so you'll actually end up having your power up a little bit higher. When you're doing that, sometimes you'll want to flatten the electrode. With the example we're doing today, we're not going to need to do that. So I'm just going to bring this back to 15 where I was. And that's a good setting for me. And let's get started. So I'm going to start welding here. Alright, do we have that camera up and running, Nolan?
Yep.
Just wanted to thank Nolan. He's here today helping us. Thane is out of town. And so Nolan's running the screens today. So, as we can see here in the video, I set the wire in the crack where I want to fill. And then I touch the electrode to the piece and the wire at the same time. And as you can see, it melted that metal and just put it right where we needed it. So now, just going to do that over and over. I'm just going to do probably just a couple millimeters. I'm just going to fill this area, just maybe 2 or 3 millimeters. So you can see what it looks like. And we won't go all the way around the screw, but this will be good. Is that an okay angle, Nolan, or do I need a...
It's looking good.
Does that look alright? Okay. Now, as you can see, I filled just that line right there, just in that little area. But like I said, I'm going to do some overfill. So we'll just go right on top. And sometimes the wire will stick. You can hit it with the electrode to break that off. Or you can just wiggle it and it'll come off. And then you just keep adding metal to that area, like so. And as you can see here, let me clean up the area a little bit. And you would just go like that along the line, filling in little by little. And after you fill, you can also use the electrode to smooth out the area. So this won't eliminate machining, but it can help smooth out the area, move the metal around, and clean up that area for you so that you don't have to machine as much. But right there, you've added your metal. Let's see if I can get some different angles here for you. Does that look all right?
Mm-hmm.
So then in the mold and die world, you'll come in and machine that and get it to the specs that you need. And that, by doing that, your mold is fixed. That metal is bonded in there, it's solid, it's strong. Now in other industries, that's just the way to add metal, right? So if you're maybe putting a post on an earring or filling some porosity or a hole or anything like that, you'll follow those same steps of adding metal and then buffing and polishing to the look that you want. So that's it for today. That's pretty basic, but if anyone has any questions coming in on live chat that you want us to focus on, or if you have an application similar to this that you had questions about adding metal, let us know. And we'll get those questions answered.
All right, Scotty. We do have a few questions from Ultra. I apologize if I get your name wrong. But we want to know, when you reheat the piece, how hot should it be?
Okay.
And how do you hold it while welding with it being hot?
Okay. Very, very good questions. Thank you. So when you heat it up with a torch, from what I was told, that you want to heat it up around 500 degrees. And that'll be good enough to preheat that piece. Get some thick leather gloves. You can get them at hardware stores. You can get them online. But you'll want to wear some thick leather gloves so that when you're holding that mold, your hands don't feel the heat. Because yes, if you heat up the mold and you touch it with your hands, you will burn your hands. I apologize, I failed to mention that. But definitely use some thick leather gloves. You can get them at a hardware store, get them online. That will protect your hands, and then that way you can hold the mold, heat it up, and then begin doing your welding. So very, very good question.
All right, and they also have another question. Could you recommend some settings and techniques for welding aluminum?
Yes. So unfortunately, I do not have those off the top of my head right now. Send us an email, because I know aluminum is the main, one of the main pieces that you're welding when you're doing mold and die. I apologize, I do not have those right now, but I will get them for you. Send us an email, or put your email, an email that we can send to you in the live chat right now, and then that way we can catch up with you on that, and we will send you. We have a printout. I'll also put it on the training webpage so that you can have access to it. But we have some information about aluminum that helps the different types of aluminum that are out there and and what to do. Now remember, on this system, if you have one of our newer models, whether it's the 200i2 or the S series or whatever, you can choose an aluminum setting on there. But if not, then we'll definitely get you some good settings. Let us know what system you have also, because I want to get you the right settings based on your system. If you have a 200i2, it'll be different because you have the square form and the triangle waveform that adds other options. So I apologize, I don't have an answer for you right now, but we'll get it to you. Did they send over an email?
Yep, we have it.
Okay, cool. We have your email. We'll get you that information. Great question. Thank you.
All right, that looks like it's all the questions for now.
Okay, cool. So if you have any other questions, please just email us at, what do we have them emailing at? I can't remember.
Sure.
I apologize. sales@sunstonewelders.com or sales@orionwelders.com. Send your inquiries there, or you can contact us on Facebook, or you can YouTube message us. Either one, we'll get to you guys no matter how you email us. Just let us know that you were watching the live YouTube webinars and that you have a question, and we'll get those answers to you, and we'll get you all taken care of. So with that, I think we're good to go. Thanks for tuning in today. And then let's leave it live for 10 minutes if people want to chat in other questions.
Okay.